One of the most powerful features in Atlas is its real-time regulatory engine. As you build a formula, Atlas is continuously analyzing your recipe against 21 CFR Part 163, which is the FDA standard of identity for chocolate in the United States. It's going to automatically determine what type of chocolate you're making, whether it complies, and flags exactly what needs to change if it doesn't comply. Let me show you how it works. We're going to go to new formula, and we're going to create a 72% dark chocolate. Uh, the regulatory engine should be right here in this area. You can see that it's not present currently because we have not added any raw materials. So let's begin to add our ingredients, and we're going to add nibs. Let's use some Ecuadorian nibs. We're going to need some sugar in our chocolate. Some vanilla is going to be nice. And I'm a big fan of lecithin, so we're going to add a little bit of lecithin to it. Now, in order to make this a 72, so first of all, you'll notice that the regulatory engine has appeared. It's red because the formula is incomplete. That's expected. We haven't added our ingredient percentages yet, and every chocolate type under the CFR requires at least one nutritive carbohydrate sweetener. So we're going to put our nibs in at 72%. We can still see that our regulatory engine is red. Now watch what happens when I add some sugar. So as I type in sugar, we've just changed to green. Atlas has determined this because we have 72% chocolate liquor, which is well above the 35% threshold for semi-sweet, and we've satisfied the nutritive sweetener requirement. So let's round this out with 0.5% of vanilla and 0.5% of soy lecithin, and now we've got 100%. The engine is green across the board. We have a fully compliant semi-sweet chocolate. It's all 4 ingredients, 100%, and the engine validated it in real time as we built it. So let's take a look at this a little bit closer. If I click this regulatory engine button, we'll open up the full compliance panel. This is where things get interesting. At the top is the composition matrix. This table shows your formula's values on the left and the CFR requirements for each chocolate type across the columns. Sweet chocolate, which hardly anybody makes, but it's a type. Milk chocolate, semi-sweet, and white chocolate are the most commonly produced forms of chocolate. Anything in the green means you've met that threshold. Red means you don't. So you can see instantly, not just that you comply with semi-sweet, but exactly why you wouldn't qualify as milk chocolate. In this case, you've got 0 milk solids and 0 milk fat. Now, we call attention to some of these dotted underlines over here. These are hover over tooltips. For example, if we hover over this nutritive sweetener section, it shows the full CFR definition, which sweeteners qualify, which don't, why it matters. This becomes critical for the sugar-free formulas that I'll show you next, but also as you start to work with alternate sweeteners. We used a sugar in this formula, but as you guys are all aware, there's lots and lots of different kinds of sugars. High-intensity sweeteners, such as stevia, sucralose, aspartame, those types of things, those do not qualify as nutritive sweeteners. Now, below the matrix, in this area, you'll find a dynamic section. This section changes based on your formula. In this case, it's showing us what the permitted flavors are allowed under CFR 163. Since we meet all the requirements up here, the only thing that's necessary to remind us of is what are elements that we are required to adhere to with regards to flavor when it comes to chocolate. All right, so let me close this up. We're going to go back to the main screen. I'm not going to save this. And we're going to look at how it handles sugar and sugar-free. Let me open up a formula that I've already built that uses a sugar alcohol as its sweetener system to make it sugar-free, cleverly titled Sugar-Free Example. We can see that there's no sugar, no dextrose, no lactose. There's nothing that would be qualified as a nutritive sweetener here. So there's 2 things that are worth calling out here. First, you'll see that there's a blue sugar-free badge in the engine title. Atlas calculates the total sugars per the 30-gram rack, a reference amount customarily consumed, for chocolate and determines that this formula falls at or below the 0.5 gram threshold required by the CFR, which is titled the CFR 21 CFR 101.6, that illustrates what the sugar-free claim requirements are. But second, and this is another important part, look at the product type. This does not meet the standard of identity for chocolate. If I open up the panel, we can see that this section down here now looks very different than the one that we saw before. Atlas understands that this is a sugar-free product, right? It doesn't meet any of the requirements for a true chocolate, and it isn't trying to become one. It's a deliberate formulation choice. The explanation is clear. CFR 163 requires every chocolate type to contain at least one nutritive carbohydrate sweetener. Sugar alcohols like erythritol or maltitol don't qualify. So technically, this product can't be labeled as a chocolate under the standard of identity. It would need to be called something else. And that's a nuance that a lot of producers miss. There have been some pretty significant lawsuits over this. And so we want to make sure that we get this right if you're playing in the sugar-free or no sugar added space. Atlas is going to catch this for you automatically. And down here, it's going to do some math for you and help you understand if you're getting any sugars from your ingredients and if it's adherent to your requirements. We're going to look at one more example. I'm going to go back to our library and we're going to look at no sugar added. So this one has been pre-built. You can see that we've got nibs, we've got maltitol, but now I've thrown in some whole milk powder. Whole milk powder has a sugar in it called lactose. In this example, we can see that our total sugars are 5.3. So when I use whole milk powder at a percentage of 14%, that's going to generate 5.3 grams of sugar, or 5.3% in 100 grams of my product, which puts me over the threshold for a sugar-free product. Again, Atlas is going to automatically recognize this. In our previous example, this said sugar-free. Now we can clearly see that this is not only saying this is not a chocolate, but it is a no sugar added product. And again, if I click this and open it up, this compliance table is going to spell out why we're not a chocolate. And this section down here, yet again, looks differently. And so it's detecting it as a no sugar added product. It'll walk through why that is and what that means. And it'll show you the math. And if you are trying to make it a sugar-free, it's going to help you understand what needs to change in order for it to become qualified as a sugar-free product. So that's the Atlas regulatory engine. It validates your formula in real time against the CFR. It differentiates between chocolate types. It catches sugar-free and no sugar added nuances. Gives you CFR section references for everything. It's not replacement for a regulatory counsel, but it's a super powerful first-line defense for any chocolate manufacturer that helps you avoid some litigation pitfalls.